Hi, and thank you for watching TargetedWest.com. I'm your chief bottle washer, DJ Chris, with my cat Pika and the gang here in beautiful Lodi, California in the camper. It's a Thanksgiving weekend. It's the 1st of December, which is also World AIDS Day, by the way. And this is show 141. Thank you for watching on your preferred platform. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Spread the word about the video. And we, of course, always say that the opinions of our guests are that of their own and not that of Targeted West or DJ Chris. Tonight we have a very important person, which she is part of the community for quite some time. And she is visually impaired significantly, and she's being tortured with V2K, and this, of course, is a V2K call, so that's what we mostly like to talk about. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Anne from St. Louis. Hello, Anne. How are you tonight?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for tuning in to listen to this interview today. Hope everyone had a really wonderful Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We are at December 1st, so it's time to turn the page and rest and regroup and start it up again. This is your V2K warrior from St. Louis, Missouri that is not going to back off. No. All right, so I'm right here, your special guest, and I wish we could all meet under much healthier circumstances than this.
Yeah, that would be nice. So you were on the show, of course, previously, and we're having you back as part of our What's New segment, What's New with guests of the past. And we spoke before. You became the state contact for Targeted Justice's list of people available to reach out to others in their area. And you didn't have that before, now you do. Congratulations on that. Tell us a little bit more about your targeting and what motivates you to get into this, and how you ended up with Targeted Justice doing that.
All right.
We'll start out with your targeting.
First of all, my name is Anne. All right. Well, I am be 52 years old in a few months. I have 24/7 V2K. I have more than one type of V2K according to some that are in the community. I have the visual as well as auditory. It's 24/7 nonstop. I also have direct energy weapons. Been dealing with asset stripping, discrimination, homelessness, quite a few things. I've also have been dealt in the past with biological warfare, and a lot of other adversity, but it doesn't stop me from caring about myself and my community. So I'm speaking up today and always for not only myself, but for the ones that are too incapacitated to speak or too afraid to speak. I mean, 10 years ago, if you would have asked me to come on a show to do an interview like this, I wouldn't have been able to. But I came to the place in my targeting. I have been a targeted individual my entire life. I was born and raised and lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana up until almost 11 years ago, excepting for the 3 months that my family and I lived in Lakeland, Florida. I have a congenital hereditary eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa. I was born partially sighted, so I could see the difference between day and night, dark and light, and some colors and some shapes and movement. And because of the direct energy as well as other factors in my targeting, I had my eyesight cruelly stolen away from me almost 20 years ago. And it caused me to prematurely lose my eyesight to retinitis pigmentosa. I'm dealing with other medical concerns too, including fibromyalgia.
Wow, that's incredible. And then all of a sudden you get V2K on top of all of that.
Actually, Chris, I was born with V2K, but
Really?
not to the level
Wow.
where it is now. They certainly have the technology. They certainly have the technology to give me what one ex-military member a long time ago, I just was describing my V2K, described it as classic V2K. I guess like you got classic Coke and new Coke. So you got, so it's like, what kind of V2K do you have? You have the
I probably believe that you probably have the classic V2K, yeah.
classic over here, but laughter really is the best medicine. So I was been down sometimes. It didn't hurt my ears. And I thought it was kind of neat sometimes because it'd go up and down like you were dialing a radio or something. And that was only if I didn't have any music on in my room or any other sound from a fan or something. And during the day when I would do my schoolwork, because back then I used large printed materials, and I didn't hear anything then. But, I mean, there was so much other different types of sounds going on that it was probably very much there, but I wasn't aware of it until if I was in a pitch dark room. But where the V2K got to be a real big problem for me was the very beginning, or where they changed it out. I think there was some times during my almost 52 years where they did turn it on, where I had some operators, but then they would shut it off. Because that's part of the experimentation. They'll turn it on from time to time and try to talk to you, quote unquote, to see how you react to it. But I wanted to clarify something. My particular V2K, the audio portion of it, and then we'll get into the visual aspects of my V2K, is I can hear it mostly outside of the door, outside of giving me the idea there's a bunch of people fighting out in the hall. When I was kept awake in 2008 for over a week with this technology. It's like you go in the military so you can keep an innocent blind woman awake for over a week. That's great. But I don't know. And it just sounded like there was a bunch of people out in the hallway fighting or just having some kind of issue.
That's terrible. Did any of your other family members get V2K?
Well, I just went about my business like, yeah, whatever, they'll take care of it. I mean, it's just somebody having an issue, well, then it's an apartment building. Somebody will see about that. For personal safety reasons, you don't want to go out in the middle of it. And as far as the visual, when I lost my eyesight, I thought I'd be total darkness. I mean, not see really much of anything. Some totally blind people, they have the vaguest little bit of light perception, but I don't have any of that. In fact, I have NLP on my medical records. That stands for no light perception at all. They can shine the lights in there, and nothing's happening with it. I don't react to them, I guess, would be my interpretation. They turn that on, and it's like, can you see that? It's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. But what really bothers me with the visual part of it, I mean, it all bothers me so much, that's the idea, is I have a very brilliant light that will not go away. And they put it together from what they created, like a template. And they have put that together with the medical term for a phantom light called a photopsia. It's a real condition. It has nothing to do with mental illness. When you have an issue with your retinas, your seeing part of your brain can play some really a lot of tricks on your eyes that aren't real funny. So they have created this hologram, which is in the shape of a window, and it is so bright, I can't stand it. It won't go away. I close my eyes. It's like This thing is brighter than GE Towers. There's nothing I can do to make it go away. It's just... And they came on one night and they said that she is going to have to look at that window for the rest of her life. And all of a sudden, the lighting on it chinked out for a second and then came back on. You know, like, get the point? And it's like, window? What window are you talking about? But that's what it looks like. It's a window. Like, I guess if I had to describe it, like a window with a great deal of high intense light behind it. Like, it might, I don't know. I can't explain it well enough because I'm visually impaired to make it sound like it makes any kind of articulate sense. So that's what what I'm dealing with.
Did your family ever have a history of V2K?
Of what? Because you're of targeting or blindness or what?
Or no, the V2K itself. Did they ever have voices talk to them also?
Not that I know of. I came from a really highly toxic, dysfunctional family, and they don't tell me anything. They would always just give me the Reader's Digest version of what might be going on in the family. So I believe my mother might have had V2K, but not till she was so physically incapacitated that she wouldn't have been able to lash out at it or hurt anybody. Or she couldn't walk anymore by then. And I mean, she was so far gone that they wouldn't even waste time trying to say, oh, she's schizophrenic because she's seeing that or she's hearing that or whatever. She had so many other issues that they said, okay, well, that's coming from something else, so never mind, you know. So I honestly don't know. I mean, they do go after entire families, and they definitely went after mine. I don't know how they decide which members of the family are going to end up with V2K and which ones are going to get the least amount of targeting that they can give, but still consider you a target individual. Because there was asset stripping a lot in the family. There was all kinds of other stuff happening too.
I did that to my dad, asset stripping.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He also had V2K, and he was blind in one eye. He had no eye, actually. He only had one eye.
Uh-huh.
But he managed to work for the post office and get some rental properties going and own some businesses, so he didn't do too bad.
Yeah. They go
my
after
mother,
families
my mom,
with,
oh yeah, they went after my grandmother too with the V2K, and also I don't know if you knew this, but my mother was legally blind and didn't drive.
I didn't know that. What was she blind from, Chris?
When she was young, she went to a shady optometrist who put the wrong glasses on her and ruined her eyes, so she couldn't see very well and at all, really. She could see barely, but not clearly.
But they were the wrong glasses for her, which led to her becoming significantly visually impaired. Because listen, you can be diagnosed legally blind. When they're talking about legal blindness, they're talking about statistics in your eye exam that they're looking for to be able to deem you legally blind. Because you hear legally blind, well, that might be somebody that can't see a thing or see very little. But you can actually be diagnosed legally blind and be able to drive out here, but you'd have a restricted driver's license. The first time I had an eye checkup, I was a 5-month-old baby, and I was in foster care as a baby for a short time. And that's who took me to the eye doctors. But I didn't find that out until I was a grown woman in my 30s, almost. Because the eye doctor was reading something to me from my chart, and it said that my foster mother had brought me in to be evaluated. It's like, oh, somebody's been lying to me. He could have been even the one lying. As I was always told, my biological mother was the one that took me to the eye doctors at 5 months old.
That's interesting. So
they never were.
So all this stuff you've gone through, all this hell, and you still fight every day to make this go away. Where do you find the energy to do that? Is it? And I know it's coming from your heart, but tell us more about that.
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you or anybody else out here. There's some days it's like, why do I continue to do this? And I try to get out of that mindset, and I'll go do something or change my environment. Sometimes, guys, that's all you have to do is just a minor change to your environment. Like go in and get a drink of water, or just leave the room a minute, or go get another book to look at, or something, and that can really be a game changer for you. I really try not to dwell on stuff like that. It's a struggle sometimes, I must be honest. But I will continue to fight no matter what. I'm not going to back off. I'm not.
Good for you. And now you're the state contact for Missouri. Do you get a lot of calls about people in Missouri, or does it really matter? You help everybody out, from what I've been told.
Yeah. If you're from Timbuktu, I know this is kind of, I've always enjoyed helping. I've volunteered before for different nonprofit organizations as either a support person or a mentor, which I'm doing now through an organization, and that's something that's like I was born to do. And I will continue to do so. But to answer your question, concerning Missouri, callers from Missouri, I really don't get that many, or really from the tri-state area. And I'm originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I still have yet to hear from anybody on the calls or reaching out to me from Fort Wayne. And I've been coming to community calls. It'll be 6 years ago, December 26th this year. I went to Targeted Mass, and that was the very first call I attended, where I met DJ Chris and others here, and started networking from there, and here I am. I have been a state contact now for almost a year.
That's incredible.
I encourage anybody to be a state contact. Yes, you don't have to have any special background or a degree or anything to be a state contact. I mean, we all have our strengths. And when we combine those efforts, we're going to be able to get through this. We really are. So I know it doesn't seem like it right now, and I know everybody's like, what the hell are you talking about? But that's the way I feel. If we can just combine our strengths, then we should be able to overcome any type of adversity. Blindness, homelessness, food insecurity, anything. But I also wanted to say, to become a state contact, I'd highly encourage anybody to. All you honestly need is a heart for people, and to care about yourself and your community, and a passion to help yourself and others and be a part of the solution, and wanting to make a positive and permanent positive change to whatever we're going through.
And you
also step up to the plate, and
you're also a low-income expert on tips too. Tell us more about that.
Yes, I mean, growing up pretty much there were times when we were seriously didn't know what we were going to do. And then there were times when we were a little bit easier time. You go through times like that, but we were mostly very limited income. I mean, I don't know as far as below poverty level and all that, because that's a bunch of statistics. A lot of that I don't even really believe in, because a lot of that they haven't even changed the guidelines since 1970 something for some of this. But and questions. I mean, I'm not a caseworker or an expert on how to get block grants for housing or anything like that. I'm just an everyday lay person that needs to use low-income type services, and and to be perfectly honest, that how I found more than 80% of these resources was from other low-income persons. You think, her social worker told her to call them up, or her caseworker, because there's a difference, told them to call, or her counselor for the blind, or fibromyalgia doctor, or whatever, told her to contact them. But I really believe in peer-to-peer mentoring. I'm mentoring right now through a blindness organization. I've been doing that for almost a year. They launched a program. I've actually been doing that a little bit longer than I've been a state contact, because I've been a state contact for, I think, about 9 or 10 months, and I've been in this peer mentorship through one of the blindness organizations for 12 months, just about 12. So happy anniversary. Love to hear from some other mentors and community caring people. We got to all get together and see what we can do. If you run a soup kitchen, you help at a soup kitchen or a clothing bank. As far as any entrepreneur stuff, I consider myself to be a social entrepreneur. Love to network with other people that are doing likewise to make the very best positive change for 2025 and well beyond.
Very cool. We'll go into Q&A mode in a few minutes to get commentary from the audience, but do you have any specific things you want to talk about now?
I'd like to give my contact information, if that's allowed. Because
Absolutely.
the only reason I'm asking is I know some platforms, are not cool with that, but I always ask just to be on the safe side. I highly encourage anybody to get like a burner phone number or a separate email address to make contacts, because the only way we're going to get through this is together, and to be able to network and have the free exchange of ideas. So you can give me a call or text at 314-325-2394. Just understand that they have increased they're ramping up everybody's targeting, because they know that their gravy train is about to come to a screeching halt. And because of the so-called holidays, they always ramp it up. So they're going to do anything they can to really shake things up, including trying to keep you from communicating. I'm going to fight them tooth and nail. They're always talking about wanting to turn the phone off or wanting to keep me from being online. Well, they don't know me very well, because I was fighting them tooth and nail since day one. They put me in this program as a newborn. I could have even selected when I was when Mommy Dearest was pregnant, because they do that too. Because if they're going to go after your whole family and they see the prenatal records, okay, well, we see you're expecting. Well, guess what? You're going to have another targeted individual to be with. So, if it's just one of them in there. I don't know. I don't know how I got the B2K. I'm really anxious to know. So if anybody that's listening maybe that has the same kind of B2K, because that's the only way we're going to figure out how we can cope with it, is figure out where it's coming from, how you might have gotten it, and that because some people feel like you were chipped or whatever, or implanted, and then there's the other camp that feels like that you don't have to be implanted or chipped, that you can get V2K. So it's like, did I get it in the delivery room? Because I was born in a hospital, 1973, in the days when they were still giving women a lot of heavy medication and even general anesthesia, where they have no remembrance of having a baby. You know, the babies went to the nursery there in the hospital, and the mothers went to the postnatal unit to recover from childbirth. And it could be hours or even sometimes days before that woman woke up, thought that she was still in labor. It's like, no, you had a little girl 3 days ago, but they don't tell. I don't think they told the women that. I wanted to go into nursing, but or something like that to care for people, but because of my vision, I was not able to do that. So I figured, well, try to go into one of the allied professions for healthcare. Okay, can't be going to being a doctor or a nurse or lab technician, anything like that, because there's lots of careers in healthcare. There really are really progressive and genuinely altruistic healthcare professionals out there. And a lot of them are targeted. So, but that never really came to fruition. So.
And my V2K is obsessed with my old doctor.
Uh-huh. Why do you think that your old doctor is the one that's signing these people's paycheck to give you V2K, Chris? Is that the reason?
Why were you what? Why do you think you got the V2K? I don't know. That's crazy.
No. I was asking you. You said that your V2K is obsessed with your old doctor, and I was asking you if your old doctor might be the one that signs the paychecks for these people, to your handlers and that, to be paid. Is that why they keep bringing him or her up? That's just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I don't know. They do that weird type of thing to me all the time. There's no rhyme or reason for it.
Yeah.
So let's take a little break for a moment and play a quick intermission and a commercial for our friends at Cyber Shield, and we'll be right back with you for part 2 of the interview with Ann in St. Louis. Be right back.
This is CyberShieldInfo.com.
Okay.
We manufacture a shielding device that protects the body and head from harmful ionizing electromagnetic frequencies. This is the most powerful high-tech shielding device made specifically for targeted individuals who are assaulted with harmful radiation and pain. Do you want to feel better? We also offer complimentary in-person demonstrations in the San Francisco Bay Area. For photos, pricing, and more details, visit CyberShieldInfo.com.
That's CyberShieldInfo.com. Thank you again. So, Ann, we're back to you, part 2 of your interview. Do you get a lot of different people from different backgrounds calling you when you give support?
Different walks of life. Speaking of backgrounds, I wanted to talk a little bit about the types of work that I've done before. My very first job was in 1991 when I turned 18. I was working for an independent research firm, and I wondered if they might have put me in, but I try not to dwell on that because I came to the conclusion finally I was born in. I hadn't done anything wrong. I was just born in. And I mean, from what I was talking about earlier, how I have the tone in my left ear, I understand that's a sign of remote neural monitoring. And then we had a DEW attack, a direct energy weapon attack, on our house when I was 14 or 15 years old in Fort Wayne. We've just had different stuff going on. We've had a lot of electronic harassment. stuff going on in the house and with the cars and stuff. You just looked at that and thought, what is going on here?
So you're saying you had directed energy weapons hit you back then? That's wild.
Well, I had that even before that. I mean, we're talking, I was 87 or 88. I was 14 or 15 years old. I'm trying to remember exactly because it was something else. I mean, we were just upstairs, summer evening, really beautiful evening outside. There wasn't anything storming. There was nothing wrong outside suggesting that the house could start shaking. There's just not any earthquakes at all. Indiana, not at all. And we went outside, and there wasn't any to see or anything like that, and we just didn't know what to make of it. So we went back on upstairs and just went on with our evening, and then it never happened again.
That's interesting. Do you
I just don't know what to make of it.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who get V2K or directed energy weapons as to how to ignore it and try to do your best to shield and such? Do you have any suggestions like that?
Yes. Just know that you're not mentally ill. You're not alone. The first time they turned it on and they were doing their craziness, I knew it was electronic in nature and not to talk about it to anybody, not even your best friend, because you don't do that. That's very common, electronic harassment of the disabled. That's like one of those, I mean, they do it to everybody, but especially those with disabilities. They'll run some kind of weird recording through somebody's radio that grandma's listening to, and she's hollering. It's like, what's wrong, Grandma? And it's like, they're after me. It's like, okay, well, call the White Coast to come get Grandma so we can get the house. Just like on that episode of, help me out here, guys, that show from the 70s and 80s. Is it 321 Contact or 123 Contact? The name of the episode was The Curse of the Darjeeling Necklace. They were doing something with her radio to make her look like she was mentally incompetent so they could take her house. Asset stripping. I wish I could find the episode. It's in its entirety. They've got a
You're cutting out.
I don't know, maybe it's around there on one of the other platforms. It's called The Curse of the Darjeeling Neck. I see what they're trying to do, and they're not going to get away with it. As far as thinking, I'm going to go cry into somebody, thinking, oh, somebody's like, whatever. And in 2008, November 2008, they had the sound on it turned up so loud. So when I hear, oh, just ignore it, I don't know. With mine, they have to turn it up and keep the audio on it so loud because I can't see people making funny faces at me or rolling their eyes at me or anything. So I guess they felt like, well, so they're hitting me with direct energy weapons and keeping me awake with V2K for over a week. I mean, they were really laying it on. They started way back in the summer of 2008 with just a couple of noises. Like I thought, oh, this place is falling apart. That's all. Just something with the plumbing or the air conditioning is doing that, or something's going on outside. Nothing, just everyday stuff. It didn't faze me. And then it's like then they really turned it up. And as we got closer and closer to Thanksgiving, that's when they really dialed it up. And then they kept it in a holding pattern for over a week. When I say over a week, I don't know how many days, because then I went to the hospital because it felt like my kidneys were about to shut down. Because I was in pain. I hadn't slept in over a week. I didn't know what else to do. I just did not know what else to do at all. No earthly idea. And I'm a pretty good problem solver. So I called 911. I said, I think I have a kidney stone and I feel sick to my stomach. That's all I said. The perps were probably hoping I would say something like totally bonkers off the wall. It's like no. So they came and, well, I did have to get my kidneys checked out. I mean, if I hadn't used the bathroom in 2 days, I was filling up with poison. I don't know if they were spraying stuff in my apartment too, because by then I couldn't tell you. I don't know how I even passed the basic neuro test that they do on you to see if you're gonzo or not, crazy, whatever, before they have to call behavioral unhealth on you. And, they just ask you what day it is and all that. I don't know how I even passed it, because there was just, by then I just felt so sick to my stomach, and my back was killing me, and I was just, my fibromyalgia, and everything was just totally decompensating. And that's what they want. And then I just had to tell them, I don't feel safe in my residence. So that started the homelessness journey that I was on, because that's part of it. They can make you homeless in a minute with this V2K business. It don't take much. But so I know what it's like to be forced out. I'm still in a hotel right now because I'm still trying to cope with the aftermath of being dealing with housing discrimination. So I'd like to find some other people that have been dealing with that and how they've coped with it, because sometimes I feel like it's my fault when I know that it's not my fault. And I don't know, but I just try to keep my head up and do whatever you can to find some kind of joy or enjoyment in your day. Anything to raise your residence. You're going to want to do some volunteer work? Good for you. You want to paint? That's wonderful. If you enjoy playing cards, anything you can do to enjoy yourself, go for it. As much as I treat V2K and being a TI as another disability, like another terrible illness or disability, because V2K by itself can be very highly debilitating. I'm just so thankful every day that I'm able to do what I can do. I'm happy to answer any intelligent and articulate questions about blindness or what it's like to be blind and be a target at the same time. So I'm speaking up not only for myself, but for anybody out there that's too afraid to speak up, or for especially the disabled TIs that are very, very much afraid, because as a disabled person, that's part of growing up with a disability or being newly disabled, is they try to scare you into complying with stuff. So you're very afraid when things happen to you to speak up. But I hope everybody had a really safe and wonderful Thanksgiving celebration, and I give thanks every day for the community and being able to help the community and being able to care for myself the best way that I can under the circumstances that I'm contending with. And I keep hoping that we can find a workable solution for the housing crisis, because that's something that hits close to home. Anything to do with homelessness, or if you need some tips on dealing with homelessness, you can reach out to me. If you're a homeless organization looking for kind of some testimonials about what it's like or how you can serve the homeless, I'd be happy to speak with you. And because that's the only way we can make things better, is by talking about them and see if we can come to some solutions. Because a lot of people ask, how can I help the homeless in my community? What can I do to help? How can I be part of the solution? So, if you want some tips on living in a hotel room, yeah, I'm glad to help wherever.
That's
I'd
great.
like to say hello and welcome.
I just got the black screen of death a moment ago, so I wasn't with you. So I'm glad you kept talking. Did you want to talk to people and answer questions yet, Ann?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Hello, everybody.
Okie dokie. Let's go and switch over to Q&A, or from Q&A to... Okay, we're in open mic mode for Ann in St. Louis. Do you have a question for Ann? Come on in. Ann is here, and she's from St. Louis, and she's our guest tonight.
Yes, good evening, DJ Chris and Miss Ann. I'm Betty. I'm from Alabama, and I live across from the the blind school, and I see teachers training the students almost every day when I'm out. And so, can you hear me? And my heart just goes out to you, Miss Ann, because of what you're going through, and I just don't understand. I don't want to understand why someone would be so evil to hurt you. And Constance is going through the same thing, because we are too.
Yeah, they have you considered a terrorist. Isn't that wild? Oh, yeah, we hear you fine, Betty. Keep going.
Actually, I don't mean to sound like be facetious or anything, because I know there's different lists. There's the medical experimentation list. There's the no-flies list. There's the enemy of the state list. So I don't know which list they have me on.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just old terrorist. I'm just old terrorist. I don't want to understand these devils. I don't want to understand those dirty criminals. They soulless. Who does this? I mean, who does this?
To a blind person, to her and Constance, that's terrible. And to all of us, terrible.
There's others out there. Chris, there's lots of others out there. I have people that are in my social circle just for blindness that I know that they have V2K and they're targeted individuals, but they don't know they are, and I struggle with that sometimes. It's like, how can I help them? Because they're not going to be able to find a community like I've been able to at all. They're not going to do real well when they get their V2K going. Just being honest.
And Miss Ann, is the school aware? Are they trying to help? Because I remember growing up and we had so much the handicapped people, period, and especially the blind people. We always were so so helpful helpful and compassionate. And so I don't know why. Of course, I could be wrong, but you shouldn't have a problem finding a home. Because of your first year, you're in a protected class, and I don't know why the people at HUD are not helping you. And I'm going to call you because I have your number. I'm going to give you some numbers to call directly to HUD, and see what they'll do.
Actually, I already have those, Betty. I'm way ahead of you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Our audio was cutting out, but I think it's more my connection. The HUD list is closed. A lot of that is closed. It's not going to. I hear where you're coming from, because that's when I hear about an elderly person. It's like, what is housing and urban development not doing? It's like an elderly person is living under a bridge. It's not. The housing crisis is horrific.
But yet and still, I'm just going to say this and get off, and I'm not trying to start anything. They bring people in here and give them the best. 5-star hotel. And I'm just going to leave it at that. We don't have to even discuss it. I don't want to cause a conflict. But this is not right. It is just not right at all. And so I'm just believing God Almighty that it's going to be over soon. and the criminals will be exposed and brought to the light. Ma'am, go ahead. And I'm just gonna get off and
But you're welcome to.
Ma'am.
Thank you. Well, you're welcome to call and give me the numbers. That way I can pass them on to other people. Wow, this audio is so. I know you all can probably hear me, but I don't know. My purse or
I can hear you.
Everybody's just messing with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're messing.
Yeah, but on my side, it's like the audio is fading in and out.
Well,
but Miss
with everybody's.
Thank you, Betty.
Yeah, they are.
They do that. And thank you. Does anyone have a question? Does next person in line for Ann? Come on in. Anybody have a compliment or something to say to Ann? Uplifting. She's a blind TI, and she's our guest. Come on in.
I have a compliment.
Come on in, Deb K.
Hello.
Ann, I think you're very courageous. I think the world of you, and I love you.
Yes.
You're the best.
I appreciate that.
I mean it.
Together we will rise above this oppression.
Yes.
I
think you're very brave.
I want to be the hammer to break down the oppression, not for myself, but for all of us. Anybody else want to be the hammer to break down oppression?
I agree. Well, thank you, Deb, for the compliment to Ann. Anybody else for Ann want to make a comment? Come on in.
Hi, Chris. This is Laura, Colorado.
Laura in Colorado. Come on in.
Hi, can you hear me? Ann helped me early on in 2019. I became homeless, and it was 12 degrees outside, and although I had a car, she was one of the people I called and was able to talk me through it, and her vibe, just the vibe of, you can do this, you got this, B2K warrior out there speaking to me when I was in my car at 12 degrees and having to move. I'll never forget it. It was probably a 15-minute call, but she just helped me so much on focusing on what I needed to do right then, how I needed to get safe, right? Anyway, I really appreciate her, and she's been a rock in our community, and love from Colorado.
Love from Lodi. You hear that, Ann? That's Laura. That's unbelievable testimony.
Yes, absolutely. We're all here to help each other. I think that's a lot of how come we're targeted. They can't stand it that you would dare to care about yourself or your fellow man out there in your community. Because I'm noticing an interesting pattern. I've always been very observant. That they go after people who rescue cats, or you take in the homeless, or you do a number of things to really make a positive difference, to really, really help and care. Because they can't stand it.
I agree. They don't want you to be self-sufficient or get help from other people. They want you to be dependent on the government only.
Completely.
Which offers nothing. Next question
whether you
for
live in a 5, that's okay, Chris.
Keep going.
I said they'll target people whether you live under a bridge or you live in an ivory tower. Targeting is an equal opportunity disease. They'll go after a mother or two. They'll go after an account executive. They'll go after somebody that's got cancer. I've heard of several targeted individuals that were on their deathbed dying of cancer or some other related condition in hospice, and they were still getting V2K. Can you believe that?
That's insane. Okay, well, do we have any more questions for Ann before we switch quickly to the book club, of course. Anne, you'll stay around after the book club if people have more questions for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I certainly will.
Well, let's go ahead and switch over to the book club, the TI book club. We have 100.
Books, by the way, make an excellent holiday gift.
Yes, and audiobooks are great for people that definitely want to listen to a book but not have to read it unless you have the special software. But here we go. We are going to look for the right program. That's funny. There it is, right in front of my nose. Here we go, Ann.
It's time for the TI Book Club, where every book opens a door to new worlds and shared journeys. Here, we uncover hidden gems, specially selected for TIs, and always within your reach. Be part of a community that reads together, grows together, and sees the world through the same lens. Don't just listen to stories, live them with us. Join now at bookclubs.com/TIBookClub/join, and let's turn the pages of adventure together.
Well, thank you, Mr. Announcer. It is now time for the TI Book Club, and today's book, of course, is called Future War, Non-Lethal Weapons in the 21st Century Warfare, by John B. Alexander, Ph.D., forward by Tom Clancy. It's actually a book from 2010. It's priced at $2.99 for Kindle, but basically it discusses 21st century technology, asymmetrical war, and oh, look at that. Yes, the book club also mentions the coloring book from DJ Chris. Yes. But this book is, of course, a bargain, and it talks about all the wonderful, well, you did good on that, on all the wonderful technologies they're using against us. And, of course, Raytheon is in there and all the other contractors. But anyway, check that book out. It's, again, a bargain, and it came out in 2010. We give it a 7, and that's the end of the book club. We'll be meeting back in a week for another book of our choice, and you can always join the book club at bookclubs.com/TIBookClub/join and join with us. Anyway, it's back to Ann and open mic in a few minutes. But Ann in St. Louis, do we have any more questions for anyone out there for you? Come on in.
I have a question for Ann.
Come on in, Jax.
Ann, how long have you been homeless in this last situation? You said you're in a hotel. So how long has this been going on since you've been living in a hotel?
I think she lost her internet. She must have got kicked off. That's weird. She'll be back. Huh. I think she's been there for a while. She had a nice apartment before, but they raised the rent on her too high, so she went back to a hotel that she was familiar with. Ann, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. Can I share something while we're waiting? It's
yes, you can.
For everybody.
Go ahead, Q. Come on in.
It's important, and it's for everybody. So what I found about a week ago comes off of smartnews.com, and there are all these recalled food items, and I'll just give a short list here. Ground beef, bakery items from Walmart, Costco butter. Okay, they're being recalled for E. coli or Listeria. Vegetables, now it's produce, and some turkey products, the onions at McDonald's burgers, cheese from Illinois, pork, chicken, and beef. Okay, so if you go to smartnews.com, It's l.smartnews.com. One title for an article is called "The 15 Most Deadly Recalled Foods in U.S. History," and there's a whole bunch. There's several other articles of like 100. I think it was 170,000 pounds of ground beef were recalled within the past week or so. Millions of turkeys. People being hospitalized, even dying from eating produce or whatever. And another Smart News article is called "The Biggest Trader Joe's Recalls." Here's another one. E. coli recalls hit Walmart and other stores in Florida, California, and 5 other states. Anyway, there's several articles that I just found, and so I think it's important for people. And also, some of these articles are at Yahoo News from a week or two ago. So check it out, and
that's nice.
We've got to be
Thank
careful.
you for that information. Thank you for that. Ann, are you back? Ann, Jax had a question for you. Yes, can you hear me?
Hello?
That's why I was trying.
Jax had a question for you.
Hello,
I have a question for Laura. Sorry.
We're on the, well, actually, we're still talking to Ann. Just if you can hold your question for Laura. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask Ann, how long have you been homeless in that hotel?
I've been here 20 months.
I thought it was at least over a year. My gosh.
20 months.
So do they pay the hotel bill for you? Do you get subsidized?
No, they do. Before I had to hear about all that recall business, I was trying to answer the question.
Yes, please answer it. Please answer it for us.
I was saying that some of the social services agencies that I've dealt with, 50% of them feel like I am technically homeless because I'm not in a house or an apartment and I don't have a kitchen here. Yeah. And the other ones are like, no, you ain't homeless. If you're paying out of your using your resources, then you're not homeless. Goodbye. Because I had to reach out to them because I didn't have an air conditioner last year because this place does not. But I have an air conditioner now, so that's behind me. And I just had to reach out to them anyway because I was dealing with the housing discrimination. So
I'm sorry to hear it. Are you meeting with like a social worker, a licensed social worker type individual?
I am the social worker. I don't have a license, but I've been doing this a long time. You know, taking care of my own affairs and stuff. The social workers are just going to give you a packet of information and say, here you go, here's a housing list. Go apply. All right, goodbye.
Well, you can get on the list. Can't you get on the list, though? People do wait. And I know someone on that is a TI who waited like 7 or 8 years to get a place, but they're in a new place.
Not for 7 or 8 years. I've been looking for new housing even before, while I was still being very highly harassed at my previous residence. Yeah. I'm not stupid. I knew what was going on with him, so I started looking for new housing effective pretty much immediately. And
I don't think you're stupid. I don't think you're stupid. You sound very intelligent. You sound like you've really had to navigate this situation. And you're smart enough to realize that you don't run around telling everybody about it and saying, oh, I'm getting hit with this invisible thing. You've established your IQ to me, you know, because that's like one of the basics. You learn almost, as soon as you get a rejection, you start to realize, I better not be talking about this. But some people don't see it until it's too late.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there, Chris?
Any questions from the audience before we turn the recording off?
So we can, never mind. But I really appreciate being able to speak up here, and hopefully some other disabled people are out there listening, or anybody that's caring for someone that's significantly disabled. You're more than welcome to reach out to me too. I just ask that You talk to me as if I'm an intelligent adult.
Now, I
Please.
thought that, Anne, I thought that people who are blind, have, they get extra attention. You need extra attention because you're blind. So I'm surprised that this is just really awful to hear this.
Yeah. Yep.
No social worker, nothing.
I have been told, because I don't be a social worker. Like I said, they'll just tell you, go look at this website, apply, and we'll see you in a month or whatever. They're not going to be out there to drive you from one place to another. They're going to tell you, you want to go look at an apartment? Then you get on paratransit. We don't have time to babysit you. We really don't care.
Yeah. Wow.
And I found properties by myself. I mean, the only time I've had to interact with anybody in case management or anything was to try to get an air conditioner and some other stuff going. And they said, it sounds like you have everything well in hand. And they gave me some suggestions on who to contact for about with the air conditioning and just general information on. They were the ones that told me who to contact in fair housing, and I've already complied with all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap up this recording with a quick message from our friends at TI Events, and then we'll do open mic. Of course, we will have Anne in St. Louis still here to answer more questions if you'd like, so please stand by.
Chris, I've been hosting events for targeted individuals, but no one ever comes.
You need TIEvents.org. It's where TIs find all the events, conference calls, meetups, webinars.
How do I get listed?
Just go to TIEvents.org. It's easy. TIEvents.org, where the TI community connects. List your event today.
Thank you, and that's TIEvents.org. Thank you for watching this video on your platform that you prefer. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and if you're listening on Spotify, thank you again. If you're watching this through Twitter, thank you. Please like and follow and put it on your feed. Anyway, the recording will end now.